I enjoyed doing the Hurt video. I enjoyed doing that very much because I felt we were doing something worthwhile. That it was something that was kind of special.
Johnny Cash wasn't just a country music star. He was a man who faced unbelievable struggles and came out on top. From battling addiction to dealing with heartbreak, his life was a roller coaster. But how did this troubled man become a music legend? What was the real story behind the Man in Black? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking, untold truth of Johnny Cash's journey, his pain, his power, and the music that changed everything. Johnny Cash's road to the top. Johnny Cash didn't become famous easily. It was a long and difficult journey. In his early life, he struggled to prove himself, faced setbacks, and dealt with constant rejection. At that time, the music industry wasn't ready for his unique style that mixed church, blues, folk, and country music. Cash was more than simply another country singer. His voice was too raw, too unusual. He struggled to get attention for his songs, and record companies didn't know how to handle him. He never stopped trying, even when faced with difficulties. Cash faced personal challenges that made his journey harder, leading to his rejection not just in the music industry. Growing up poor in rural Arkansas made his early life hard. Even when he finally got a chance, it still felt like he was facing many obstacles. He was often told no by producers and radio stations who were unsure if his songs would sell. On top of the stress, money problems made things worse. Sometimes it felt like his dreams of becoming a star were slipping away. Cash was determined not to give up. He didn't want to be put into the neat categories the business tried to force on him. He wanted to create something unique to him. Cash's song was largely influenced by others. It's true that church music was very important in his life, but it wasn't the only thing. He was inspired by artists from different genres, including blues and folk. Cash moved beyond the limits of country music by listening to Ray Charles and Bob Dylan. These ideas allowed him to explore deeper and more important topics in his songs and influenced his music in surprising ways. He admired the faith in church music, the storytelling in folk songs, and the raw emotion in blues. By blending all these music styles, he made a sound that was meaningful and emotional, feeling both new and recognizable. During this time, Cash began to try out new things more often. He stopped trying to fit into the popular country music style of the time. His songs began to reflect his true self, which helped him stand out. He began to act more according to his own experiences and difficulties. His songs revealed his true feelings and experiences, showing both his pain and successes, not just catchy tunes or nice lyrics. The real change happened when Cash stopped trying to please others and started doing what he believed was right. Playing popular and safe music was not what made him successful. It came from his performance of Folsom Prison Blues, a song that reflected his struggles and unhappiness. He wrote the song in the 1950s, but it became popular when he performed it live at Folsom Prison in 1968. Mixing the strong emotions in the lyrics with the energy of a live show made a big difference. Cash put a lot of feeling into the song, and this strong emotion resonated with listeners more than his earlier songs did. That moment started his success. Johnny Cash's success didn't happen by chance. It was the result of many years of hard work and trying to find his spot in the music industry. He chose to be honest with himself, and it worked out well. Folsom Prison Blues was more than just a song. It had an important message. It showed who Johnny Cash really was, a man who faced difficulties, made mistakes, and overcame challenges to become the person he was meant to be. He made a big impact when his music and words were needed the most. The 1960s were a time of political change and social upheaval, and Cash's music reflected that turmoil. He found something that people really wanted, a voice that was brave enough to say what others were afraid to share. Cash chose to write about real-life events and the struggles of working-class people, which made his songs unique. People connected with his honesty in a way that the smooth pop country music of that time did not. Cash didn't need a gimmick. He had something much more important: the truth. Johnny Cash's Darkest Battles. Johnny Cash's life wasn't always the straightforward journey of a strong, determined man that many admire today. Behind his famous picture as the Man in Black, there was a deeper story of hardship and addiction. Cash's addiction to amphetamines and other drugs took over his life, and at his worst moment, he felt completely torn apart. It not only impacted his personal life but also affected his music and job, putting everything he had worked hard for at risk. His addiction developed slowly and gradually, not suddenly or dramatically. It came from years of stress, fatigue, and mental pain from his past. Constant travel, the stress of being famous, and his ongoing sadness led him to use drugs for temporary relief. At first, it was managed properly. The drugs initially boosted his energy to handle his busy schedule, but over time they began to take control of him, causing him to experience ups and downs. Addiction harmed his life, but it also led to some of his most popular songs. Cash's struggle with addiction is reflected in his music. Songs like Hurt, which became a lasting expression of sadness and reflection, came from his toughest times. His songs openly revealed the pain he felt inside, and his clear, emotional voice made it easy for listeners to feel his struggle. His listeners clearly saw how addicted he was. His songs directly spoke about the sadness he was experiencing, even though they also captured the beauty that can come from pain. In these tough times, Cash's songs were very genuine, showing feelings of weakness and addiction that many people can relate to. His addiction began to badly hurt his relationships and his job as it got worse. Sometimes he would cancel shows because he couldn't perform due to his drug addiction. This upset his band, disappointed his supporters, and hurt his image. He used to be a strong and smart man, but now he is just a shadow of who he once was, struggling with the results of his choices. His addiction put everything he built in his work and personal life at risk. When his friends and family saw the changes in him, they tried to help, but they couldn't free him from his drug addiction. His work was getting worse, and his relationships with people he cared about were falling apart too. Johnny Cash's journey would eventually lead him to a very low point. It was a breakdown of both mind and body. His wife, Job, and health were all in trouble. He understood he could no longer ignore the consequences. He was tired, hurt, and wanted a change. His story was complex, filled with feelings of doubt, sadness, and weakness. It didn't follow a typical pattern of redemption. What happened next surprised everyone. Cash decided to face his problems directly. He didn't make the choice to start healing easily. It didn't look shiny or simple. Coping with the mental and physical damage from addiction was a tough experience for him. He had to confront the years of drug use and the damage it had done to his life. Recovering from this was a messy and slow process. It included many failures, terrible withdrawals, and times of intense meditation. Cash was struggling with parts of himself that led him here, not just the physical drug. He had to accept the choices he made and the life he nearly lost. What came next was truly amazing. His comeback was more about changing and improving than just going back to how he used to be. Johnny Cash returned to the stage and studio with a deeper, more thoughtful voice and a renewed energy. His songs after he got better showed the insights and pain of someone who has experienced a lot. Cash had overcome his addiction and became a changed man, and his songs reflected this change. His album American 4, The Man Comes Around showed that his struggles had been worthwhile. The songs expressed real emotions and self-reflection, connecting with both those who have healed and those who are still hurting. His songs gave hope to those who had hurt, reminding them that even when things seem lost, healing is possible. Johnny Cash's return to music was more than just coming back. It was a triumph over the struggles he had faced in his life. His battle with addiction became a big part of his legacy, affecting both his music and his personal image. He was no longer just the radical country star called Man in Black. He was a man who understood pain and recovery from dealing with his own struggles. He faced his toughest times and became stronger because of them. His songs showed others that they could also face tough challenges, not just reflecting his own life. This is what made his trip truly special: the complicated bond between the two. John Cash and June Carter. Cash's love story was nothing like the fairy tale that many people think of when they imagine this famous pair. Their love story was complicated, full of ups and downs, and faced many difficulties. Even though their friendship seemed strong and inspiring to the world, they faced many difficulties privately. Their friendship was not just about romance, it was also about supporting each other through tough times. June fought for Johnny rather than just loving him. June became Cash's lifesaver when he was struggling the most with his addiction. She had definitely influenced him. She was a woman full of dreams and fears, not just a caring wife who took on a lot to help Johnny when everything was falling apart. Their relationship had some problems. Even though June's love and support helped Johnny, there were still some stressful moments. They fought, tried hard, and both made mistakes. The media showed their marriage as perfect, but there were hidden tensions, personal issues, and tough problems that couldn't be easily solved. Their love story was complex because it involved more than just power and healing. Johnny faced his own problems, even with June's help. June couldn't protect him from everything. Johnny's addiction weighed heavily on them, and sometimes they had to accept that love alone can't fix everything. Their job caused them worry, and on top of that, they were dealing with personal issues, money troubles, and being judged by others. June stuck by Johnny even though things were tough and their relationship seemed to be falling apart. Some of Johnny Cash's most heartfelt songs came from this struggle. His complicated marriage to June and ongoing struggles influenced his songs. June's song, Ring of Fire, along with others, showed her deep feelings instead of just being nice to listen to. Cash's voice was filled with deep emotions, showing the struggles he had in his marriage. The songs talked about the pain, longing, and struggle they all faced, not just about love. Their rocky relationship began to shape Johnny Cash's songs. Even though June helped him through a tough time, their bond continued to inspire him while also causing him some personal struggles. June influenced Cash's songs, but she didn't make him invincible. He still had flaws, and balancing his personal and work life with June was not always easy. Their close relationship didn't keep them from facing the truth. Johnny was still emotional, and their love couldn't protect him from everything life would bring. The outlaw who fought for justice. Johnny Cash was a popular musician who used his fame to help the less fortunate. While many remember him for his radical outlaw image, his support went beyond just music. He was actively engaged in problems, not just singing about them. Cash spoke out for Black rights, Native American rights, and environmental issues, going beyond the usual problems of his time. Cash bravely spoke up for poor groups in the 1960s and 1970s, while many of his friends stayed quiet or performed in places that went against social norms. Cash's songs, like The Ballad of Ira Hayes, tell the story of a Native American hero from World War II and show his strong support for Native American rights. He highlighted their struggles in a way that many people in the music industry would miss. Cash highlighted issues that were being overlooked, not just for his fans. He continued to advocate for the poor. Cash spoke out against social unfairness and inequality. Even though people in the country music world rarely talked about it, he was not afraid to speak up about environmental issues. He is committed to social issues and making sure the opinions of overlooked people are heard, not just focusing on politics. His songs and actions reminded people that someone cared, reaching out to those who felt ignored. Johnny Cash, often seen as the radical man in black, was more than just a singer. He used his influence to stand up for important issues. His songs became a tool for changing society. He used his role to inspire others to think about fairness, equality, and the realities of life. For example, his show at Folsom Prison and his support for prisoner rights highlighted issues that are often ignored. He made music to question social norms and spark conversations, not just to entertain. His efforts drew attention and started discussions about necessary social changes. Being honest comes with a cost. Cash upset some people in the music industry by being quick to talk about controversial issues. Record companies and mainstream audiences did not always agree with his political ideas or care about social issues. He faced criticism and was sometimes overlooked for not fitting the typical image of a country singer. Cash never let this hold him back. Even if it sometimes made him feel more alone, his work showed that he was an artist with important beliefs beyond just his own. He was more than just a country singer. He used his voice to support justice, equality, and human rights. Johnny Cash's support for important causes was a big part of his identity, even if it was sometimes challenging. His support showed that he was more than just a performer. His songs reflected his desire to make a difference. His influence is still noticeable today because it shows us that music can be a powerful tool for social change. Cash's impact was more than just his famous songs like Ring of Fire and Folsom Prison Blues. His true memory lies in how he used his fame to stand up for justice and highlight important issues in the world. Johnny Cash's music and impact. Johnny Cash's music career was marked by constant growth and change. He didn't just stick to one style. Cash began trying out different styles early in his career as a country singer. He mixed in rock, folk, and even some unusual sounds that surprised both critics and fans. His ability to move between different styles showed that he was not afraid to be creative. Cash surprised everyone by exploring and learning different music styles, even though he was known for classic country songs and his outlaw image. Money circulated quickly in the 1960s and 1970s as the music scene was evolving. He tried different instruments, ways to record, and explored music styles from other languages. In the 1990s, while working with producer Rick Rubin, especially on the American Recordings series, he showed a big change in his music style, moving to a simpler and more personal sound. This was not the Johnny Cash that fans expected. It was honest, simple, and deeply emotional. Cash's older voice, simple guitar playing, and emotional sound became his signature style in his later years, and these songs are among his most well-known. Cash was a pioneer who influenced the sound of many music styles, not just country. His influence extended far beyond country music. Cash's rebellion, honesty, and straightforward style inspired many punk rock artists. Punk artists like Bob Mould and bands like The Clash have openly said that Cash greatly influenced their music. He mixed country, rock, and folk music, opening up new chances for future acts. Many people in underground and alternative groups were inspired by the strong emotions in his songs and his refusal to follow traditional music rules. Other musicians were moved just by his voice. It showed how he felt about music. Many artists were inspired by Cash's authenticity and his refusal to follow the usual business standards. He chose not to let the pressure for financial success shape his music, which encouraged others to express themselves, even if their style was different. The music industry tried for years to name Cash, but he refused. This helped him create a lasting impact across different music styles and cultures. Johnny Cash's legacy is not only about how he influenced music during his life, but also about how his effect is still felt in today's songs. Cash's music has connections to styles like Americana, alternative country, indie, and folk. Cash is a key influence in his work, so modern artists like Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, and some rock bands are often compared to him because of their sincere passion and storytelling. They include the honesty, genuineness, and boldness that Cash always supported. Cash's songs and effects go beyond just the musicians he inspired. His ability to connect with people through his genuine honesty, sensitivity, and refusal to pretend to be someone else continues to shape both music and popular culture. Groups beyond music have adopted his famous picture as the Man in Black, symbolizing resistance and strength. From Folsom Prison Blues to Hurt, his songs have changed to represent themes of self-reflection, social justice, and genuine emotions. Johnny Cash's influence is still strong today, even many years after he died. While his voice may have changed over the years, his strong will, commitment to honesty, and ability to connect with people emotionally have stayed the same. His songs have stood the test of time and continued to grow, showing that Johnny Cash was more than just a singer. He was a cultural figure whose impact still affects the songs we enjoy today. Johnny Cash's journey was filled with struggles, triumphs, and transformation. If you enjoyed this deep look into his life, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to click the next video for more incredible stories.